Like it or not, we're down to the Final Four in the NBA. You like them?
Yeah. Listen, would I have liked my Knicks in the Final Four? Yes. Do I understand why they lost? Yes. Am I willing to accept it? Not quite yet. That being said, I will say this about the Boston Celtics. Of the 4 teams that are left, if you are not hoisting the championship trophy at the final NBA game of the year, I will never believe in you. There's no possible way a young Timberwolves team who looks really good taking on the champions, a team like the Dallas Mavericks, who've got 2 big stars, maybe Washington you throw in there as a third, or the Indiana Pacers with the way they're currently constructed, should be hoisting that trophy before you. This is Boston's year. There is no better one.
I don't disagree with you, but that's why they're not going to win. We are in a weird influx of change in the NBA, right? Like, you have a team in Dallas that's also been right on the cusp for all of these years, and I guess you could argue deserves a championship based on time and grade. You have a team in the Timberwolves, you don't know what they are, because their talent is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
But they also don't have the experience of knowing how to close out games in series.
Except for Denver.
But they did. They could have closed it out earlier. They put themselves in that position. And then Indiana, right? Like, on paper, the Celtics should be blowing them out of the water. That game 1 was an unbelievable game.
Too close.
They are such, and you saw it against the Knicks, that second game, right? They got that 10-point lead, and they didn't surrender it, right? Like, anytime the Knicks went on a run, and they played really well, even with the injuries, that counterpunch came back. It was a Larry, they say styles make fights. All of these styles interact perfect with each other. All 4 teams where you can't tell who's coming out on top.
It will be, I believe, at least in my thought process, it will be the Timberwolves, it will be the Celtics. The Celtics have got to find a way to win this championship. You will not get a better chance than this.
I think the West will be favored over them. Whichever team represents the West is
and
going to be
I love
a slight
Ant
favorite.
Edwards. I love his matchup against anybody, whether it's Indiana or the Celtics, but this is it for the Celtics. Enough. Put up or shut up.
Since we're on a Celtics thing, though, just one other point. I don't feel like circumstances allowed them to play with any joy. This is a trudge for them.
I mean, well, they look pretty joyous up front. They went up 12-0. They were up, 20-6
but
at one
they
point?
don't seem. It's like they don't seem to enjoy it. It's like so much is expected of them, and the situation has fallen into place. Like, you can't enjoy anything because you cannot win public opinion, regardless of how these games come out.
I understand what you're saying, and even with Halliburton, who's been playing for the Pacers for so long, right? Like, he finally gets out of that second round, and he's playing. But still, I mean, do your job. Get your job done. You got your money. The guy's on that roster. Mm-hmm. You got to keep this core together. You brought in Porzingis, who was going to show up later in this series, it seems. You don't have an excuse not to get this job done.